Okay, welcome to this class. This class has the only purpose of this class, rather, is to make you all more intelligent and better squad leaders, FTLs and commanders. I'm going to be doing this all from the hip. I have a general idea what I'm going to talk about, but I'm just going to let you all guide me as I fucking make shit up and teach you things. So, and by make stuff up, I mean just talk about stuff on the fly. It's like legitimate stuff, but just no set agenda. So the first thing I want to do here is I want to know what everyone's idea, using a specific squad ops person as an example of what a good FTL looks like, a good squad leader, and a good commander. So think of all three of those things and think of a person in squad ops who you think is a good FTL, who you think is a good squad leader, who you think is a good commander. And I'll just fucking think about that for a second, and I'll pick on one of you to answer.
I got one.
Hold on, shut up. All right, Godzilla. Who's a good FTL in your mind? Someone you would emulate yourself after.
Oh, you went for me first. For FTL, I choose Blackbeard. I like the way he micromanages. It's very concise.
That's a good solid choice. I was expecting someone to say that.
Can I comment something on micromanaging?
After let me get through this, Evan, and then we will talk about all that. All right. Thank you, Godzilla. Boogie, good example in FTL in your eyes.
Honestly, I like Nuke. Nuke always
Nukem?
No, Nuclear Twister right here.
Okay, you gotta clarify.
Yeah. Nuclear Twister always does exactly what I need him to do and thinks a little bit and
You're cutting out, but I heard what you said. Very good. For the two of you that just joined, we're going over our idea of a good FTL, squad leader, and commander, like specific examples. So those are some good FTLs. Cool. Hellcole, give me a good squad leader. Tell me who you think would be a good squad leader to emulate yourself after.
Alpha would be a good example.
Alpha Guido?
Yeah. He keeps it lighthearted when it's at times, but then he gets serious when it's necessary.
Okay. Yeah, that's definitely an important aspect that I think a lot of SLs in this community don't really follow along with. They don't interact with their squads as much as they should. And I think that's a real issue. I know Alpha Guido's really good at that. I try to be good at that. Evan's really good at that. And there's several others here who do that part. Turtle, who would be a good squad leader?
Silas.
Silas. Why?
He lets me do what I want.
Oh, this ties perfectly into micromanaging.
No.
We're almost there, Evan. All right, so Silas and Guido, that's okay. All right, now commanders. Think of some good commanders. Kuba. No, fuck that. Flicker, who would be a good commander in your eyes? Or who is a good commander in your eyes?
Oh, Fu. Fu is fun.
Fu?
Yeah, Fu makes it. It's actually very interesting when he's the commander.
In what way?
I don't know. He just he like when the Oppa's there, he doesn't like make people do all this random shit like go on this crazy flank. Like he kind of just puts everybody into the action to have the most amount of fun and real.
Those are fair points. Sorry, I coughed. Yeah, those are fair points. I agree with that in a lot of cases. To be, a good commander does make it engaging to his team, whether it's making it more immersive, making it seem more real, whatever the case may be. He tries to do what he can to make it fun for his team, at the very least. Okay. Jive, who's your idea of a good commander?
You.
Okay, why?
Because you're not an overbearing person, we'll say. And you kind of like, you want to get shit done. So you're not going to like force people into bad spots and get them all killed. Which ties into probably what Evan wants to talk about micromanaging.
Yeah. I'll go. Thank you for that, Jive. That's good to hear. That kind of feedback. I've never heard that before. But I'll do one more. I will go for Kuba this time, since I said fuck that originally. Kuba, your idea of a good commander, please.
Hold on. Let's go Evan SMA.
Okay, go ahead, Evan.
Oh, so okay. So for micromanaging,
I was gonna say who is your idea of a good commander? Then you can go.
good commander. All commanders suck. Everyone has their strengths and weaknesses. Like Dorf's strength is he's not annoying. Some other weaknesses other commands have are like flanking when in unnecessary times. And some commands just talk a lot on the radio. Some just have great plans. It's all who you catch and when you catch them. But the best commander is probably Evan SMA.
All right.
I've always
No, it's truth wrong.
Okay, so
Rip.
we all have our idea of who we think a good FTL is in this community, who we think a good squad leader, and who we think a good commander is, and we all have our idea. We have our idea who those people are, and we have an idea what makes those people so good in our eyes. So obviously everyone's different in their interpretations of that. I'm going to try and keep this conversation steered away from bashing on the people who we think are not so good. That's an entirely different conversation that can cause a lot of issues. With that said, I actually lost my train of thought with that, but one second.
Leadership style. Is that where you were going with this?
Kind of. So everyone's got their own way of doing things. But really we all might have our own idea of who has the greatest impact. Whether it's the FTL squad leader, commander, we have to remember that we're here to have fun, and these people are having, we're just a small fraction of the community. There's, only so many regs and staff and managers, but there's, so many more puppies out there, and it's not just us who are trying to have fun. Although, personally, I think we need to focus more on us having the fun but there are the puppies out there who have fun. They don't see the things we see as regs and squad leaders and commanders and staff and everything. We see a lot more at our level than they do. So they might have a different idea than we do. But I want you to all just what do you guys think? Who do you guys think has the greatest impact on a puppy's experience in an op?
FTLs.
FTLs? Okay.
Command.
FTL and SL.
Command.
Whoever is microing them.
Yep.
I actually don't think FTLs have an impact. If they're bad, just don't listen. Just SL.
Can you guys hear me?
Yes.
Yeah.
The reason I say command is because you can have a good FTL and also a good SL, but if command sends you on a mission, depending on the circumstances, it could make or break an operation forward.
Okay, that's a good point. Anyone else want to agree or disagree with that?
I say command as well. I guess it's also like half command, half squad leads, because if command gives an order that is going to get all your guys killed, and you don't say something to them, you're just as guilty, in my opinion.
So, on that subject, always if you're an SL and you think command gives you a shitty order and it's really bad, you know the situation better than he does. Respectfully, tell him it's a bad idea and give him another option. If he turns down your option, then do what he says.
Yeah, Evan's right. And to go over the overall point, I think, and I will get back to what Evan said, but to go over this overall point, Kuba's right and wrong with what he said. FTLs, they're usually bad. That's just how it is. Because I mean, look at us. Half of us, we either squad lead, or a lot of us just want to be riflemen, or some kind of rifleman or specialty kit or whatever. A lot of us don't want FTL. Those who do want FTL, you guys do a good job of it most of the time. And hopefully with this, we can promote greater use of everyone here FTLing, because that makes it easier on the squad leaders. But SLs, personally speaking, I think the SL, they have the greatest overall interaction with the pubbies, with the riflemen. They have the greatest overall interaction. So those pubbies, they know who their squad leader is. They don't always know who their commander is, regardless of if they're briefing them or not, or however, how long they work with them in that op. But they always know who their squad leader is, and they always work with the squad leader, and they have a good idea if their squad leader sucked or if it was good. But tying into what Jive and Hellcole said, their commander also has a duty, and that commander could easily fuck over his whole team by doing some crazy stuff, by taking half an hour and just disengaging for half an hour, not doing anything, or going on long flanks, or just rushing his whole squad or his whole platoon into a meat grinder within the first 10 minutes of an op, and then the op being over literally within 15 minutes. There's definitely some give and take in this, but overall, I would say squad leader first, close second is commander, but for different reasons. And Evan, what was your point again? Because I was going to tie back into it.
For micromanaging,
Oh, yeah.
or
yeah, well, what you just said.
about giving your commander a
yes.
second option?
Yes, exactly. So Evan made a great point here, and I've seen it so many times. This is the problem when you don't have a written agenda, but I've seen it so many times that people, commanders will give orders, and squad leaders will either just blindly follow them, just completely blindly follow them, and go straight into their death. And then at the end, the puppies in that squad are like, "Oh, that was fucking stupid. Wow, our squad leader's so dumb. Our commander sucks. Like, why'd they just waste our life like that? Blah blah blah." Like that's not fun for anyone. And you as a squad leader, or maybe you as an FTL, you feel like you let everyone down. And when you are faced with a decision, as Evan said, go ahead, tell your commander you can't do that. Give them a reason why you can't do it. Try to give them at least one alternative of what you can do in that situation. You always have an alternative. It may not be a good alternative, but there's always an alternative. Pitch that to your commander, but if your commander still thinks you need to do something, then you just got to double down, make the best of a shitty situation. It happens a lot, but you just gotta make the best of it. Those of you DMing me right now, I see them. I will get to them when I can. Anyone have any feedback or any questions in regards to all that?
So about what you just mentioned, I have an example.
A boot.
In session 2, yesterday. It wasn't yesterday, on Wednesday. Round 1 on INS, my SL wanted us to do logi runs while in contact with guys in between main and radio tower. And for some reason, he just wanted us to do logi runs, and I just told him, no, that's stupid, we can't. I don't know, it might not be a good example, but that's basically what he's saying, you know.
Thank you, Koopa.
Thank you guys. Thank you guys for
I
listening.
love you, Cuba. You're big.
Thank you guys for listening.
Quick question: are we gonna reset the server once everyone's or roll the map at least?
I don't know if I'm.
What?
Oh my god, we're not doing that right now, Bam.
Yeah, we got 15 minutes till that shit starts. Don't worry about it then. Anyone else have feedback to what I said, or any questions, comments, concerns? What I said.
I think I would add to it of if you do tell your command, like, oh, we know there's people here, we won't be able to do that, and he says just do it. I mean, maneuver on your own. Like, you don't have to take an absolute direct path. I mean, if you have to go a little out of your way to maybe get on a flank to shoot some of them and drive them out, like, you'll still accomplish what the command wants. You just maybe won't do a fashion that the command was thinking.
Yeah. So that's a good segue into another topic or another point. So there are too many squad leaders, and even there's a lot more commanders who are very rigid in their playstyles. There's nothing wrong with that, especially when you don't have you don't really have an expertise in all this, or you don't have all the knowledge that some other people do, or the experience or whatever. But there's too much rigidity or rigidness in command styles and squad leader play styles. Your commander will give you set in orders. You follow them, but unless that commander is being super micro on you guys, they're generally up for, give them some loose interpretation. Don't, just because the commander said, go to grid fucking golf 658 or whatever, that doesn't mean you have to take the straight line to it. You can take, you can go curve any which way you need to get to that grid. The end location, how you get to the end location does not matter as long as you get to the end location. Some cases it does matter because maybe there's, enemy in certain spots or, whatever map and uplift restrictions, but ultimately how you get to somewhere does not matter, or how you execute those orders does not matter as long as you execute them. That is something very important for you to all remember. If you're squad leading under me, I really don't care how you get something done as long as you do it quickly and efficiently and you do it at all. And
I really agree on your
Go
point on the rigidity, especially if you take, for example, what the two of us did Wednesday, round 1, when we push across the river. In my head, I had this rigid protocol where if we cross open ground, one of us should be in Overwatch providing suppression. And in that particular case, that was a bad idea since you weren't. And I agree that some of us should work on how we differentiate what you do by protocol. So just, suppression, advancing squad by squad, and adapting to situation.
Yeah, thank you, Aethel. Go ahead, Elko. I saw you light up there.
I was gonna say ROEs are pretty big, especially depending on the operation.
Yeah. Evan's telling me about a point. I want to have. Whatever. I'll let Evan get into that point. Go ahead, Evan.
Okay, so a really common problem I see is micromanaging, or just managing in general. So you gotta understand. Let's go from an FTL's perspective first. You gotta understand who's in your fire team. If you have you really need to know about these people, and you need to realize so if I'm the FTL and I have Dorf and maybe Jive and I have one random puppy, right? Chances are Dorf and Jive are going to do a fine job, and I might have to babysit the puppy a little bit. But since I know Dorf and Jive aren't retards, I can let them do a little bit. I could be lenient with them. I don't have to Jive, you're 2 inches too close to fucking Dorf. Please back up in the column. You have to know how much micromanaging you really need without fucking annoying these people. Because a really common thing I see is they're just making some FTLs are making comments every 5 seconds saying you gotta wait up, columns too close together, or just repeating what the squad leader said for the 3rd time in the last minute. And let's say another thing, when squads are holding positions as an FTL, all you really have to say is hold 360 security, and then let them divvy it out. And then if you see any problems, then act. You gotta let these people pick what they want to do. Not pick what they want to do, but you gotta give them some leniency. Then as an SL, you got to see who your FTLs are. If you have maybe a regular who you know and you're confident in what they could do, that's perfectly fine. But then you have a puppy who you've never seen before, and you don't really know anything about them. In the beginning of the op, you could see what they're doing. Like leave your regular FTL alone and just kind of watch the puppy FTL. You're gonna see his skill set, and then you're gonna act. If he seems like a really shitty FTL, then you might want to micromanage him a little bit more. But if he's keeping the guys in formation, if he's giving clear, direct orders, leave him be. As a squad leader, you don't have to be on top of their cases. All you have to say is Delta, push up to the left, Bravo, push up to the right and hold at this. And then the FTLs will kind of guide everyone into the correct path. Unless, like, if you have, like, a really ultra specific plan and you want specific movements through specific buildings, then it's kind of all right. But you got to let the FTLs lead, and you got to give them some leniency. So there's 3 types of people you got to watch out for. It's the people who don't want to be micromanaged, and they could do everything that you want them to do really easily, and they don't need any help. Then there's some people who, they're a little bit slower and they need a tad more help. Then you have the third group. You need to tell them everything. You need to specifically lay out every little plan. So you got to figure out what your FTL is, or if your command, what kind of squad leader your squad leaders are, and work around your plan. If you know someone has issues with getting or ending them, give them the easy job. If you know someone is really good at what they do, you can literally just say attack this point from this direction and let them do it. My issue with micromanaging is people become really annoying really quickly. So you just gotta relax, give it a couple minutes in the beginning of the op to see where your people are, and then react. And that's it.
Thank you, Evan. And I've got a further point to what Evan said. And this ties mostly into squad leaders. For those of you who have squad led, and those of you who know me even better, one of my biggest pet peeves, one of my biggest gripes is when I'm commanding mostly, but a squad leader will come over command comms and ask for permission to shoot when they're actively getting engaged. Those are people who expect a severe level of micromanagement on them from their commander. And I do see this from FTLs and pubbies to their squad leader as well, but I mostly see it as a commander from my squad leaders. But general rule of thumb, and I'm pretty sure every single person who commands will agree with this, seeing only Evan and Kuba as regular commanders here. But you guys, Evan and Kuba, if someone's getting engaged, whether they're in your team or your squad or your squad or your platoon or whatever, do you think they can they can freely engage back, right?
Yeah, if they ask, I'll just fucking start screaming, fucking shoot.
Yeah, like if you guys are getting engaged, regardless of what the standing orders were before that, you're free to engage. Because at that point, you guys are fucking seen. They probably got a pretty good beat on you, and they probably even killed one of your guys in that initial kill or in that initial engagement with those initial shots. So you've already lost it all. You might as well shoot back and hopefully kill one of them in return. So what I really want to stop hearing from SLs, FTLs, and so on down the line is asking for permission to engage after they're already getting engaged. It's one of my bigger pet peeves. I'm sure it's other commanders, a pet peeve for other commanders. It's not like it happens all the time, but it happens enough for me to warrant saying that. We've only got a few minutes left here before we start this reg takeover, but is there anything anyone else here wants to bring up, wants to talk about? Anything that's huge to them?
this is more of something to hammer in the importance of just leadership. And when Mission Dev was putting out their sheet asking people to give feedback and advice, it was really difficult to give feedback for them just because my main problems that occurred with a mission were never really with the mission itself, but how it was handled by the boots on the ground, by the actual leadership. That's where it matters on any mission.
Mm-hmm. Like I said, we have a few minutes here left here. I want to just get a general consensus. How many of you? I mean, I assume all of you want a squad lead at some point, but how many of you down the road, maybe you could become staff, or maybe you're a trainee or soon to become staff or whatever. But how many of you here want to command at some point?
Yeah.
Yeah, I would.
Hopefully
Eventually.
later on, man. Yeah.
Possibly.
Oh yeah.
I've been wanting to do for like a year.
Yeah. So there's a good at least half dozen of you who want to do it. Yeah, I'm with you, Razor. But I think and this has been an issue lately as well. Those of you who are in the squad leader channel and saw what Fu said, it's a huge problem. I don't know if it's a organizational problem or a teaching problem or something that gets taught down, but command comms, as important as command comms are, they are too fucking hectic. They get too hectic. There's too much shit that goes on in command comms, and there's a huge neglect of what you as squad leaders say in squad comms. You have an obligation to not just your commander and the other SLs, but you have an obligation to your squad. And if your commander gives you orders and you don't pass those orders down to your squad other than just saying like one or two words, you're making it less fun for your squad. You're giving them a shitty experience, and you're clogging command comms to boot. I try to keep comms as clear as possible. If you've been with me, you know there's like 5 minutes where I just won't talk, and that's not because I don't know what to do next or I don't know what to say or anything. There's nothing to say. I don't have a reason to talk because everyone's doing what they're supposed to be doing, or things are going as they're supposed to be going. If I have to speak up, that's because I need either a situation report or shit's going downhill or things need to happen. There's no other reason to talk than those three reasons, really.
Can I also just highlight something?
What, Jack?
Like, to highlight something. As an SL, you have direct SL contact. If you need to say something mundane and not everyone needs to hear, you can just say it through the direct key. Not everyone has to hear the general shit.
Yeah. And I will close out with that, but I want to allow for any last minute comments, questions, concerns, any comments.
I got
Yeah.
something I want to say.
Go ahead, Jive.
This has to do with the whole you're getting engaged and people asking for permission to engage. This has to do with tracers, and squad leads worried about tracers. Don't be freaking worried about tracers. Like, that's if you're being shot at, or if people are closing in on you and people are going somewhere they're not supposed to be, and you have an easy way to kill shit half the group you see, lay into them. Like, let's get Star Wars up in there with it. Like, don't worry about your tracers going out and screwing your position, because if the ARs are doing their job, they're going to kill so many of those guys. It doesn't matter if they know where you're at.
Not only that, I feel like they're going to figure out soon anyway, so it doesn't even really matter.
Yeah, well, I've been in a squad. I'm not naming names or anything, but I've been in a squad where we let 2 full enemy squads cross a bridge that we're not supposed to cross, that we were there to stop them from crossing because my SL did not want the ARs to let out.
Yeah, then.
I remember
You know what I'm
that.
talking.
That's pretty.
I was an FTL and I was pretty
That's an
upset.
interesting concept.
That's pretty bad. What the hell is going on?
All right, so
All right, Clump, just
we
end
are.
this.
So that's really all I wanted to say.
Yeah.
Let those fucking tracers fly.
Yep, we're done here. I try to make, like I said, I try to make these things engaging. They're not going to happen all the time. I don't have a real timetable for them. It's just kind of whenever I feel like doing it. If like, just give me overall feedback either through DM, reg chat, whatever. If you want to keep doing these things, and if I don't want to make them formal by any means, they're just going to be like off the fucking top of my head, hip pocket kind of training deal. Because I think they lose their value when they become more formalized. But with that said, you're all free to come participate in the reg takeover.
Yeah, hurry up. We announced it to the public. People are already starting
You
to
guys
join.
need to